Before we open up for questions, just one of the things that is a part of what we're about at VoiceBox is kind of getting stuff out there quick as well. And we know that in lots of systems there are hoops and bureaucracies to go through that means that some things take years to actually hit the street. So we are recording this, and this will be up on the website tonight. And one of the things is about knowledge. It is about sharing that. So thank you very much for everybody for joining me. And I don't know if anybody has any questions that they'd like to pose.
I've really enjoyed the afternoon, but you're the first ones to talk about like youth, and I'm from youth service, and it's dead hard to try and talk to people about that. It's just knowledge. That's a sad thing. I don't think the actual users know what they do, what they're taking. Yeah. So it's quite hard.
This is where the head shops and the people that sell it, they've got to, if they're going to be selling it, then they have to be in with the services. Because if they're going to be banging it out onto the streets, then they've got to keep in with the services, so the services can keep up to date with what they're actually putting out onto the street. That is the deal. That is what's got to happen. If the head shops are going to sell it, then they've got to abide by the and tie it in with the services, so we know what's happening. That's the only way you're going to keep on top of it, is to keep on the street and be on the street with the people that are using.
Definitely. And again, providing stuff, making stuff that's out there quick. We do stuff with animation. It's not that we think that that's going to suddenly, people are going to go, you're right. But it's part of the contribution, and particularly with young people, understanding where they live, to without getting cliched, and that's a developmental understanding, a geographical understanding. So adding this to the pot in ways that people can then use this stuff to enable and to take control for themselves, because that's how it works. That's how mutual aid. That's how it's going to work. People helping themselves. That's what Rocky did. He got himself out and he found somebody who could keep him company.
This legal hire or lethal hire, is that for everywhere, or is it just for yourselves at Sussex Way?
It's a closed Facebook group. Anybody can join it. If you just send a request to join it, I'll approve it, and you can get on there. There's lots of information on there. There's also a lot of people who are trained peer mentors and things like that that'll talk to anybody who's got any problems around NPS. And there's people with lived experience of NPS too. So it's open to everybody.
And just as an action from today, we're doers down here. So, it was a pragmatic response, wasn't it, Anthony, that led you to set up this group. So we can set up more groups, we can do more things, and as a positive outcome of today, let's put some names together and see what we can do. Rather than this waiting for something to happen, it ain't going to happen. So, okay.
It's actually quite humbling to sit here and listen to people talk about their personal stuff. So I'd just like to say thank you for that. The Lethal High support group, does that also offer support to parents of kids who are using Lethal High?
There are some parents on it. I haven't thought of anybody specifically who's a parent of somebody using legal highs. But from a parent's point of view, is there really a lot of difference between whether the kid's using NPS or heroin? It's not as specific as it is for the user. The damage to the addict's family is always massive, and there needs to be support there. Like I say, there are parents on the group, and it's a strong mutual aid group, and there's a strong women's connection on there, the majority of which are parents. So should that arise, then the support's there.
Also, do you think education is the answer, and sort of asking you individually, if you were told about the effects of alcohol, heroin and crack, would you not have used them? Because I know sort of growing up, you experiment with drugs, and sometimes that can lead to the places that people end up in. But would you have not used drugs if you were educated about them?
I think if I was educated around the NPS, I might have used a different drug.
I'm an all or nothing person, I'm afraid. I'm an addictive nature, so even if I had been educated, I probably still would have used, if I'm honest.
Thank you.
Can I just say, what's really scary as well for the youths that are out using, my little brother, who was 16 years of age, 17 now, but there's nothing in Barrow for the youths to access, whereas I could go and find the well communities which are accessed, but they can't access Unity because they're not 18. There's no services in Barrow, in Furness, or the Cumbria area. My brother actually accessed one from Manchester, took 2 hours journey away. But like, until you're 18, it's that age category where it's affecting the most at the moment. But there's nothing for them. There's no services at all because of the age bracket.
It's just a point more than a question. I'm a social work student on a drug and alcohol placement at the moment, and every day I observe different sessions of, particularly with the opiates and the crack cocaine, I see the drug workers and the alcohol workers who've got prior experience working with the addicts, and you see that prior experience, they can relate to. But these drug workers don't have they have any sort of experience or any knowledge on. They told me the other day we're getting training on NPS, but somehow before I went to that placement I'd have thought they'd have had that training, but I think it's just so fast paced. I think it's just, like you said, it's getting people into service.
Still we're training, like what sort of training are they providing to them, but are they going out there and actually smoking it? They're not getting the experience, are they, from behind it? They can read so much information off a piece of paper, but you need to actually understand it by experience it, I believe.
Just to share, I spent years doing kind of training and education and kind of learning, and it would be unfair to say that I don't think training has any place. However, I think this is about people becoming empowered to kind of use their experience to explore what it was for them and add that to the pot. Because you're quite right, just educating somebody, don't do this. We've already heard this morning, this is a very textured, layered situation that actually comes down to, the first session about who are these people. Well, these people are us. And to start kind of putting people in categories, and although that has some value, I think it has less. There's more negative from trying to pinpoint who they are and where they live. I think it's about just starting to understand people and communities and what actually helps within a community to kind of make that community as well as it can be. And it's a multifaceted thing. Anybody else got anything?
Oh, I'd just like to say, sorry, recently I did some training. Well, I didn't do it, but I needed to do it because I don't have personal experience of legal highs. Obviously, I run a mutual aid organisation, and my volunteers, I felt, given Hastings and the amount of people that were using legal highs, it was really important that we had this knowledge. But obviously all of us are in recovery for alcohol, crack, heroin, cannabis. I mean, the list goes on. Stephen was legal high. So it was really important to me that my volunteers could relate to somebody. So I got Anthony down for the day, and he came to talk and deliver some training to my volunteers. And I think it's that recovery thing as well. I think from one addict to another, doesn't really matter about the substance. I think mutual aid is really important, and they responded really well, and it was a really positive day. We learnt lots. Thanks.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say, even though it's rife up and down the country, like down south, it's a trend to do them. If you're not doing NPSs, then you ain't cool. Yeah, you come up north, and it's like, if you're doing NPSs, you're dirty. It's vice versa, isn't it?
Definitely.
So even though it's rife, it's just totally different in that respect.
Okay, thank you very much.
you.